Welcome to Truth by Billie Beene. Today's date, July 12, 2025. Time in Texas, about 2 p.m. Some of the sources I'll use today: God in the Bible, Patriot Subscribers, Dr. Jerome, CORSI, Best and Taylor, Hal Turner, The Liberty Daily, Larry Johnson on his website, Sonar 21. Some of the things we'll cover: Texas and the U.S., 1,000-year floods, plus more to come this weekend. And Epstein, Bongino may quit the FBI. So let's get started. So we've had catastrophic flooding, we know, in Texas, but we're hearing about similar events currently occurring in other states. We'll cover that. Right now in Texas today, across the Panhandle and across West Texas to East Texas, including Kerrville, we have a report now today, this afternoon, from the Texas Weather Center for additional flash flooding rains up to 5 inches. So that's going on. And now we have this. So in July, we had 500 floods in 34 states, including many 1 and 1,000-year floods and many 1 and 500-year floods. And we have this report from WCNC about the 1 and 1,000-year floods plus. So in Texas, we know in Kerrville, we had 30 feet of water rise in the Guadalupe River in 45 minutes. So we have 1 catastrophic flooding occurring in Texas. We had also in North Carolina catastrophic flooding that was associated with the tropical system Chantal, where they had 10 inches of rain plus. They broke records, and that also sadly included 4 deaths in North Carolina. New Mexico also had catastrophic flooding in Rio Dioso, that also broke records, and they had their rivers cresting at 20 feet, and the previous record had been 12 feet. We also had in Illinois, Chicago, catastrophic flooding. They had 7 inches of rain in 90 minutes. The flooding continued to Boston, Massachusetts. So we're already, and this is in the past week, so we're already seeing many things coming about, as I demonstrated in my last video, based on my own knowledge and information from Mike from around the world, that we can expect to see to become routine catastrophic flash flooding. And we're expecting in Texas over the weekend 8 to 10 inches of rain, including the hill country. That was meteorologist Chris Nunley putting that out. And we have a potential across Texas Saturday and Sunday. Severe thunderstorms, hail, heavy rain. So that's going on. And we have this. We also have flash flooding in Iowa, in Davenport. That happened in the last 24 hours. It's life-threatening flash flooding. Their creeks and rivers are at the maximum. People are being rescued on homes and vehicles, from homes and vehicles. So that's going on. We also have flooding in Smithville, Arkansas. And now we have this. All right, some information about the Cascadia. So I've been putting out information about Mount Rainier. On Mount Rainier, he's now had 1,500 small earthquakes, and it's believed that this is due to water above the magma, but it would imply that the magma is bubbling and creating this water tremor and creating the small earthquakes. Now we know off of the west coast we have an underwater volcano that is primed also, that is becoming much more active. So we have this, the earthquake prediction likely in the Cascadia area. This is a protect yourself statement from anyone involved in weather or predicting earthquakes or volcanoes. 37% in the next 50 years. That's always your cover statement, the next 50 years. However, Daily Mail is reporting we have some seismologists predicting an earthquake in the Cascadia area, a large one, an 8 to 9 earthquake, is likely by 2100. So we see things setting up in this part of our nation. And we have this going on. So the earthquake in the Cascadia area, an 8 to 9 magnitude, would lead to a 100-foot tsunami that would occur 30 minutes after the earthquake. And a 100-foot tsunami likely would go inland, I would predict, about 15 miles. And it's predicted that when this occurs, the coastline in this area would drop 8 feet, and that would be plus the 100-foot tsunami. So we see the U.S. government predicts 12,000 deaths, 100,000 injuries. I believe this is likely to occur by 2100. There's been too many different spots warming up in the ocean and on the land in the last couple of years. So this was information put forth by an international expert team from Virginia Tech, Professor Tina Dura, about the possibility of an 8 to 9 earthquake in the Cascadia area, likely by 2100. So we see more seismic and weather events going on. And now we have this, before it's news, yes, ICE has raided 2 large farms in California that are operated by the Mexican and South American cartels plus the CCP. What is their crop? Marijuana. 2 large farms in California. I wonder how much money they contributed to Governor Newsom's campaign. But they're currently being raided by ICE, the Border Patrol, U.S. Marshals, National Guard, and so on. And of course, there's the Soros-paid thugs allegedly protesting, but now using gunfire, guns against the government agents. So that's going on. It's been going on now for over 24 hours. Tom Homan, President Trump's Border Patrol czar, says that inside the U.S., since about 2020, 300,000 children have gone missing. So far, since President Trump was inaugurated and put in place his Tom Homan and other government assets, 10,000 children have been recovered. And the mainstream media, of course, does not cover this. Now, this is coming out that there could be some type of invasion into the U.S. Two types of ants from South America whose sting is lethal will kill humans, and also screw worm that comes. We know that President Trump's Secretary of Agriculture has suspended livestock trade from Mexico, including cattle, horses, and bison, because of the presence of the screw worm, which is a flesh-eating parasite. Mike from around the world puts out that this is being released intentionally by the deep state inside the U.S. to attack U.S. livestock and pets. So that's going on. And we have this from Best and Taylor, that talking about the Epstein list. It's believed on the Epstein list were many politicians that are currently serving in Congress. I would agree with that. There was a big fight Thursday at the FBI between the director, Kash Patel, the assistant director, List-Bongino, and DOJ, Pam Bondi. Pam Bondi has the list, and she has the tapes, and she has the videos, the evidence that she says doesn't exist now and will not release it. List-Bongino left in a fury from the confrontation Thursday at the FBI office, went home, didn't report for work Friday. It's believed he may be preparing to quit the FBI. Dr. Jerome CORSI on the Epstein. Why not release the client list? We know that the Epstein Island and Epstein's other locations in New York, New Mexico, and other locations in the U.S. and around the world was a joint effort by the CIA, the MI6, and Mossad to blackmail politicians, international government leaders too, as well as billionaires, CEOs of major companies, and so on. And Dr. Jerome CORSI puts out, and that was also my thinking. So President Trump's administration says there's no client list for Epstein. At the same time, the DOJ did begin a criminal investigation into Brennan and Comey. Dr. Jerome CORSI puts forth this was likely to be a distraction. So that's going on. And we saw that was Comey's daughter who prosecuted or served as the attorney for Diddy. And we see Diddy virtually getting off with no charges. And we have the Supreme Court coming out and saying district judges cannot issue national rulings. However, we see the district court judges looking the other way from the Supreme Court and continuing to deliver nationwide rulings, which they are not authorized to do. So that's going on. I have a Patriot subscriber who says there was a photo of the Epstein body, but it was a different nose and jaw. And now we have this. Larry Johnson, former CIA, who has released a list that came about through court filings that have already occurred based on the evidence from Epstein Island. He published that on his Sonar 21 channel. I'll give you some of the names shortly. But Larry Johnson says there was a photo of the alleged body of Epstein and the nose and ear were different. So it's believed this was not Epstein. So that's going on. And now we have this. We have, on the body language guy, he gives an excellent list of 10 reasons why there has to be a client list. So that's going on. And now we have this. The Liberty Daily. Alan Dershowitz, he's a famous attorney in the U.S., talking about the Epstein client list being suppressed by the government because it contained the names of many politicians, business leaders, and also donors to the Democratic and Republican Party. So that's going on. And now we have this from Steve Bannon, who is alleged to be on the Epstein client list and denies it and demands release of the client list and says that the court should unseal the Epstein records and release all. Yeah, so that's going on. And we have this from Stephen Gardner regarding the Epstein list. It's believed that many of Obama's inner circle were on that list. And we have that Elon Musk, New American Party, puts forth release the Epstein files. And he's the one who alleges Steve Bannon is on that list. So we'll see. This looks like a lot of inner fighting to me. And we have this. I have from a Patriot subscriber. Just releasing the list without evidence could lead to vigilantism. And we know the deep state uses all kinds of covers. And people who work for the U.S. government have to be careful about what they say, who's on the Epstein client list, or they could be sued. Now we have this from Larry Johnson's Sonar 21, and what Larry published as being on the Epstein list were individuals who have already been named in court filings. And this includes Larry Summers, he worked for the U.S. government, Henry Kissinger, Governor Bill Richards, Senator George Mitchell, Prince Andrew, Bill Clinton, Kevin Spacey, Bill Gates, Harvey Weinstein, Ron Perlman, Tom Pritzker, Mort Zuckerman, Ariane de Rothschild, Tony Blair. So that's going on. It's good to be in prayer for America and the world with all these floodings. And the flooding is a global event because we are experiencing climate change on a global basis. So it's good to be in prayer for America, President Trump, the U.S. military, and world peace. I love you, and I'll see you soon.